Imagine, for a moment, a seemingly mundane disagreement over a concert ticket spiraling into an unthinkable act of violence. This isn't the plot of a suspense novel, it's the chilling reality of a dispute that darkened the lives of a family forever. Today, we peel back the layers of a case that left a community in shock and a family shattered. At the heart of this story is Robert Lyons, a 39-year-old man whose request for an Avril Lavigne concert ticket from his mother, Linda Bullock, unleashed a series of events with tragic consequences. This narrative is more than just a recount of a crime, it's a deep dive into the complexities of human emotions, mental health, and the fragility of familial bonds. Join us as we explore the harrowing journey from a simple demand to a devastating outcome, seeking to understand the why behind the what happened. Our exploration is direct, devoid of sensationalism, yet compelling, aiming to invite curiosity and understanding about the depths of human behavior. This is the case of Robert Lyons, a dispute over a concert ticket and the irreversible impact of a moment's anger. Linda Bullock, at 61, personified resilience and care, a figure woven into the fabric of Carroll Stream, a quaint suburb nestled on the outskirts of Chicago. Her life, though outwardly serene, was a complex tapestry of love, struggle, and sacrifice, especially in her role as a mother and partner. Linda's world was shared with two pivotal figures: her longtime boyfriend, Stan, a silent witness to the family's unfolding drama, and her son, Robert, a 39-year-old man whose life was a battleground marked by the chaos of severe bipolar disorder. Robert's journey through life was far from ordinary. Diagnosed with bipolar disorder, he navigated a reality often distorted by the extremes of manic highs and debilitating lows. This condition, misunderstood by many, cast a long shadow over his relationships, most notably with Linda. Their bond, though undoubtedly founded on a mother's unconditional love, was fraught with tension. The very essence of their interactions seemed perennially on the brink of combustion, a volatile mix of love, frustration, and misunderstanding. Their home was no stranger to discord. Echoes of their tumultuous exchanges frequently spilled over the confines of their walls, becoming an open secret within their community. Yet, beneath the surface of these clashes lay a deeper narrative, one of a mother's desperate attempt to anchor her son in the midst of his psychological tempest, and of a son wrestling with demons that clouded his judgment and eroded his sense of peace. The friction between Linda and Robert was not merely the product of ordinary familial strife. It was amplified, perhaps inevitably, by Robert's mental health challenges. His condition, characterized by unpredictable mood swings and a reality often skewed by delusions and paranoia, meant that even the most mundane interactions could escalate into full-blown confrontations. For Linda, navigating this minefield was a daily reality, a testament to her unwavering commitment to her son despite the toll it exacted on both their lives. In this household, the line between love and conflict was thin, blurred by the complexities of mental illness and the exhaustive demands it placed on familial ties. Yet, despite the adversities, Linda's resolve to support her son remained unshaken, a beacon of hope amidst the storms that frequently ravaged their relationship. This narrative of struggle, resilience, and undying love sets the stage for a tragic unfolding, one that would challenge our understanding of the bounds of familial duty and the devastating impact of mental illness left unchecked. On the surface, March 14, 2008 began as an ordinary day in the Bullock household, underlined by the routine domesticity of suburban life. However, beneath the normalcy, tension brewed, poised to shatter the fragile peace. Linda, already battling ill health, had hoped for a day of rest, a brief respite from the tempestuous relationship with her son. Yet, fate had charted a different course. Robert, driven by impulses magnified by his bipolar disorder, had fixated on a seemingly trivial desire to go shopping, not just any casual browsing, but a purpose-driven outing with a list of items he deemed essential. Linda's pleas for rest fell on deaf ears, overridden by Robert's insistent demands. Reluctantly, she acquiesced, a testament to the lengths she would go to maintain a semblance of peace, even at the expense of her well being. The tension escalated rapidly upon their return, triggered by a demand that on any other day might have seemed innocuous. Robert, emboldened by his earlier success, made an unreasonable request: Avril Lavigne concert tickets. Not just any tickets, but VIP passes, an extravagance far removed from their everyday concerns. This demand, seemingly trivial in the grand scheme, became the catalyst for a heated argument, a spark igniting the powder keg of frustrations and unresolved tensions that had long simmered between mother and son. The altercation reached a crescendo, a furious exchange of words that reverberated through the walls of their home. Voices raised in anger, a mother's refusal met with a son's insistence, culminating in a chilling climax. In a moment of uncontrollable rage, Robert attacked Linda. The details of the assault remain a harrowing testament to the tragedy of their relationship's breakdown. The argument, fueled by years of pent up frustration and exacerbated by Robert's untreated mental health issues, spiraled into violence. In the aftermath, the silence that followed was a stark contrast to the chaos. The day that began with a simple plea for rest had ended in an irreversible tragedy. This moment marked a point of no return, a line crossed that forever altered the course of their lives. The events of that day serve as a grim reminder of the devastating impact of mental illness when left unchecked and the tragic consequences of familial conflicts that escalate beyond control. In the quiet aftermath of the storm that had swept through the Bullock household, a grim silence settled over the scene. It was a silence that screamed, laden with the weight of irreversible actions and the shadow of a tragedy that had unfolded within these walls. The police, summoned by concerned neighbors who had grown all too familiar with the sounds of turmoil emanating from the residence, were the first to pierce this silence. What they discovered was a tableau of horror that would haunt even the most seasoned among them. Linda Bullock lay lifeless, her body a stark testament to the violence she had suffered. The scene was gruesome, a chilling reminder of the brutality that had transpired. The immediate aftermath saw law enforcement springing into action, with the search for Robert Lyons becoming a top priority. As the reality of Linda's fate began to crystallize, the community reeled in shock. How could a day that started so mundanely end in such tragedy? The question hung heavy, a somber cloud over Carol's stream. Meanwhile, Robert's actions following the crime painted a portrait of a man seemingly detached from the gravity of his actions. In a bid to cloak the enormity of his deed in normalcy, he embarked on a surreal attempt to continue his day as if nothing had happened. He went shopping, a mundane activity that stood in stark contrast to the violence he had just perpetrated. Robert wandered through stores, perusing items with a casualness that belied the chaos he had left behind. Later, he dined alone, sitting amidst unsuspecting patrons, his demeanor betraying no sign of the turmoil that defined his day. This disturbing lack of remorse, this ability to dissociate from the act he had committed, underscored the complexities and the profound disturbances that lurked beneath his surface. As the evening wore on and the reality of his actions began to sink in, the facade of normalcy Robert had attempted to construct crumbled. The police, relentless in their pursuit, closed in, their search driven by the urgency of capturing a man who had crossed the most unthinkable of lines. The community, once a quiet backdrop to the everyday lives of its residents, now found itself at the center of a narrative marked by tragedy and disbelief. The aftermath of that day, the discovery of Linda's body, and the subsequent hunt for Robert unfolded like a grim tale, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating impact of unchecked turmoil within a family. The wheels of justice began to turn swiftly following the tragic events in the Bullock household. Robert Lyons was apprehended not long after his ill-fated attempt to blend into the normalcy of everyday life, his brief flight from accountability coming to an abrupt end. Upon arrest, the charges laid against him were grave: first-degree murder, a charge that reflected the severity of his actions, and the loss of Linda Bullock. The community, still reeling from the shock, watched as the case moved from the realm of whispered rumors and police reports into the solemnity of the courtroom. The trial of Robert Lyons became a focal point for a broader discussion on mental illness and its intersection with the criminal justice system. The prosecution presented a case grounded in the undeniable reality of Linda's violent death, emphasizing the premeditated nature of Robert's actions. They painted a picture of a man who, despite his mental health challenges, made a conscious decision to commit an act of irrevocable violence. The narrative was clear: this was a calculated act of murder, deserving of the full weight of the law. In contrast, the defense sought to illuminate the shadowy nuances of Robert's mental state. They argued that his actions, though undeniably tragic, were the culmination of a lifelong struggle with severe bipolar disorder, a condition that muddied the waters of intent and premeditation. His lawyers pointed to his erratic behavior and the profound impact of his mental illness as mitigating factors, urging the court to consider a sentence that prioritized treatment over punishment. The defense's plea was a testament to the complexities of adjudicating cases entwined with issues of mental health. The verdict, when it came, was a reflection of the law's attempt to navigate these murky waters. Robert Lyons was found guilty of first-degree murder, the jury unmoved by the arguments regarding his mental health. The sentence was severe: 40 years in prison, a judgment that sought to balance the scales of justice for the life taken so violently. The trial and its outcome sparked conversations within the community and beyond about the intersections of mental illness, criminal responsibility, and the adequacy of support systems for those struggling with psychiatric conditions. It highlighted the urgent need for a justice system equipped to address the complexities of mental health with empathy and understanding, even as it upholds its duty to protect and serve. The case of Robert Lyons served as a poignant, painful reminder of the consequences of societal neglect of mental health issues, underscoring the importance of early intervention, support, and a justice system that recognizes the human behind the crime. As we reflect on the tragic story of Linda and Robert Lyons, we're reminded of the profound impact that mental health can have on family dynamics and the critical importance of seeking help. This case sheds light on the devastating consequences that can arise from untreated mental illness and the complexities of navigating these challenges within the confines of a family. It's a stark reminder of the need for compassion, understanding, and, most importantly, accessible mental health care. This narrative compels us to advocate for a world where mental health is prioritized and where families like the Bullocks have the support and resources needed to prevent such tragedies. It underscores the urgency of fostering open discussions about mental health, removing the stigma surrounding mental illness, and advocating for reforms in how the criminal justice system addresses mental health issues. We encourage you to join the conversation in the comments below. How do you think mental health should be addressed in the criminal justice system? What can we do to better support individuals and families struggling with mental health issues in our communities? Thank you for watching. If this story moved you or made you think, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that delves into important issues affecting our society. Remember, your voice can make a difference in creating a more understanding and supportive world for those struggling with mental health challenges. Let's work together to break the silence and build a community of care and support.